Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Euria Industries. For short, today we're building an amazing new coaster and a couple rides for the moment, at least, on this first speed build. The coaster is this one that you guys are seeing right now. Unfortunately, the first half of the coaster, the pre-lift section, I was not able to film it. I thought I was filming, but I didn't press record. So, yeah, typical YouTuber fails, But yeah, you're going to see the rest of the coaster being built and the actual theming of the coaster. The coaster will be finished on this first speed build, so that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy to be about. But yeah, it's a wooden coaster based on kind of GCI kind of coaster, but I didn't take into account any specific coaster. It was just what came up to mind to me and what felt good. I knew that I wanted to create kind of like a coaster that goes down into the ground because I wanted it to be kind of big and long, to have bigger drops, and to be way more fast and a little bit more intense than the other coaster, lift hill driven coaster that there is on this park, which is the Baron Supply Drop. Today, I just wanted to do kind of like a more of a intense coaster, but still being apt for families. So basically a normal wooden coaster, which is kind of like how I feel they designed them. They just designed them for them to be kind of intense, but like in the middle between being intense and way more easy for the kids, So that's what I was going for on this coaster. This was not actually the first coaster that I was planning to do over here on this area that it's in. The first coaster actually was a Kurzlauer Infinity coaster that I wanted to build, but it ended up being a little bit too compact for my liking, and I wanted this to have a feeling that you're going through the forest and all that. So the Kurzlauer Infinity had to be scrapped. It was like a pretty good Infinity coaster, and I was building it and it was looking pretty nice. But I ended up scrapping it because, well, it was too compact, and it felt too out of place, because this is, at the end of the day, the Baso Forest section of the park, and it's based on a forest, so I didn't want to do too much of a compact coaster over here because I wouldn't have any space to theme and to put some trees around it and stuff, right? So I ended up deciding with a wooden coaster, which is the best place to fit it in, actually, because, well, it's a wooden coaster that it's in a forest area, which is full of trees and wood, so it just fits, right? And it's themed around this particular canyon, which is going to have a waterfall after. You're going to see it. And I feel like it turned out pretty great. The name of the coaster is Waterfall Express, or Canyon Fall Express. I don't remember right now the name of the forest. I don't have it noted. It's actually Forest Fall Express, the coaster that I'm building over here. So yeah, pretty cool coaster and pretty nice overall theme that I did. It's not too much of a complicated theme. It's, some trees and some forests and some water and a waterfall plopped around. But I think it's a really scenic view and it's a really nice coaster overall. And my favorite part is that it doesn't go higher than the tree line, which is what I was aiming for with this coaster. I based myself quite a bit on the Alton Towers coasters, they cannot go over the tree line. And I wanted to do something like that on this coaster, and I think I achieved it pretty well. It's a coaster that it's only seeable if you're close to it, and it's exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, pretty happy with that overall. And with the coaster layout, I think it turned out pretty smooth, pretty nice, and pretty realistic for what a wooden coaster would it be. I'm not the most expert on wooden coasters, but I feel like it turned out pretty great. Now you guys are seeing me here build the station for the wooden coaster. It's not going to be too much of a themed station. It doesn't have a lot of stuff going for it. It's just a normal roof station, but I feel like it would fit in a park like this. We are talking about a park that it's aiming to do as much theming as they can, but at the same time they don't have the same budget as, well, Universal and all that stuff would have, so, and we're not having any IP based coasters over here, so yeah. But it overall looked great. The coaster looks great, the layout looks great, and you're gonna see that whenever the theming and the actual theming, which is basically putting trees on, the theming is basically just putting some trees on the whole canyon, but you'll see that it looks pretty nice and pretty nature-esque, which was my goal for this area of the park. and I think I achieved it pretty well. So yeah, just giving some final details onto the roller coaster, and now we're going on to the section where you would enter the coaster. As you guys can see, I'm doing a rail crossing over here, which I fought with for a bit because I wanted to do some custom made barriers, like those barriers that like drop down whenever there's a train crossing and all that stuff. On a lot of theme parks you're able to see those. I wanted to do those, and it was not absolutely not possible because with how the custom mechanical pieces work, with how they work, it is really difficult to work with them because it's not possible to do it. Basically, I fought for a bit. There's a couple stuff that they need to tweak over there, and it needs some love. The whole sequencer and sequencer related things need some love. They're absolutely unworkable right now. You cannot do you can't do anything with them at the moment. So I just decided to leave them up, and then if they update, I'll just come back to it. I'll work on it and then call it a day. But right now, as it is, it's absolutely impossible to work with it. So it is what it is, I guess. But overall, I think it looked out really great. And when the train is not crossing, it's pretty realistic. If the train's crossing, people are going to clip through, even though the park is still not open. And I don't know if I should open it or not, because I fear that people going into the park would lag my game and make my building really not that smooth. And so what I could do maybe is just close the park and then reopen it after. I'll see what I do, but I'll probably do that because I really wanted to see the park open and people going through the different sections of the park and all that, So that's something that I'm going to have to take into account as well. But anyways, you're seeing me right now building the whole waterfall. It took a while and I fought with it for a bit, but I think it turned out pretty great at the end, especially when viewed from the perspective that you need to see it. You're supposed to see it when you're going through the actual coaster, and whenever you're going through there, it is just beautiful and it looks beautiful, really beautiful, truly beautiful. So that's cool. And yeah, not much to say over here for the coaster. The coaster's mostly built. I forgot to do the transfer track, and I might do it after. I don't know. I had some idea to do this transfer track because of the space we're dealing with. So maybe I do that, but I don't know. I'm not too sure about it. I'll see what I do later, but right now you guys are seeing me over here make the entrance sign for the coaster. After that, we're going to work a little bit on the railroad crossing, which you will see it's going to be a fail because I'm going to be fighting for quite a while, and then I'm going to just give up because it's basically impossible to do what I wanted to do. And yeah, I'm just going to give up, and I'll end up giving up, and I'll end up putting them always looking, open, even if the train is crossing through. But it's what we have. It's what we have to deal with. So it's okay. We'll deal with that. Anyways, on other news, since filming this video, the roadmap has been released for Planet Coaster 2. They've been saying that they've planned a couple stuff for February and March, and then April and May don't have any specific roadmap yet, but they do have some plans to add some other stuff over there. So I'm pretty excited over that. And there's been quite a few videos that I've seen where Frontier addressed the problems Planet Coaster had. So I'm hopeful that they do know that Planet Coaster 2 still needs a little bit of work, because at the time being, I do still feel it's in the last parts of being early access game, but it's still early access. I would consider it, even though if it's in the last parts of early access, I do still consider it is. But it means that Frontier still cares. There's still a lot of work to be done with this game. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful on that department that they will try to fix everything that we asked them to. I hope they add new types of coasters. Swing launches is something that I do really need and I do really want. I do want also the water rides to be fixed, the water mechanics to be fixed, for example, with the water rapids, because they don't make any sense. I want, if possible, moving platforms would be something that I would really want for certain types of coasters and rides. Like some rides don't make sense when they don't have a moving platform, such as the water rapids, which was what I was trying to achieve in the last episode, but didn't in the end. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be fixed over in this coaster. And the first being the whole sequencer. I feel like the sequencer is better than Planet Coaster 1, but it still needs a little bit more tweaking. They try to make it too user-friendly, and it is so not user-friendly at the moment. So I think it needs some fixing on that department. I would just make it a little bit more advanced, and it's going to have a learning curve, but I feel like the learning curves of stuff like, for example, I compare it to video editing resources. I feel like you could make it so that it looks like that, and video editing resources are pretty intuitive. Besides it them being like more advanced, but like there's like the main basics of a video editing is pretty intuitive. So if you want to do a basic thing, it would be really easy to do. And then if you want to do a more advanced thing, you would also be able to do it because of the features they added in of how the sequencer works. But as of now, adding advanced things to the sequencer is an absolute nightmare, and it would take basically a whole episode to achieve. So yeah, as of right now, I'm not looking forward to working with this sequencer up until it's fixed. But yeah, you're seeing me right now building this flat ride. This is one of the flat rides that came with the DLC, which of course we all know it's not a good DLC. It's not worth it. Frontier addressed the situation and they were aware that we didn't like it. So I'm happy at least that they do know that that kind of cash grab we're not happy about. And even though the DLC was not worth 10 euros or what it's worth, I would still buy it if it has like more of a 60% discount. Lower than that, it's not worth it. But like a 60% discount, it would leave it at like 4 euros or something. I would buy it then. But if not, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because having the Extreme Spinner and that launched coaster is not worth it enough for me to pay 10 euros. Paying 10 euros for 5 roller coasters, that would be another thing, and I would think about it, and you could consider it kind of more worth it, but as it is, it's not. It is absolutely not. But I bought it, so I'm gonna have to use it. So here it is, one of the coasters. This is the 350, I think it is called. I don't know how it's called, but I felt like it fitted pretty well over here because I had a blank space over here that I wanted to fill with a small coaster, with a small flat ride, and this was perfect for it because it had a really small footprint, because flat rides on this game have really ginormous footprints. But yeah, that's something that I also hope they fix. But not too much else to say regarding this speed belt. We're gonna come to the end of the speed belt in a second. It's just me doing some quick fixes to this flat ride in particular, and then we're gonna jump into real-time mode and I'll show you in real time every single thing that I did. But yeah, not much else. So let's just jump into real mode in a second and I'll see you guys there. And here we are in real time mode. This is how the forest zone looks like right now. This is of course, the Rapids ride that we already built the other day. And then here we have some additions. Before this was not connected, but right now it is connected. We've got this ride over here that looks pretty nice, and I gave like some slight theming, not too much, but a slight theming so that it would fit better, and I think it does. It does fit really good. I added these flowers over here all around. They might be kind of too much, maybe, but at the moment I like them, so I'm just gonna leave them over there. We do not have anything over here, even though we're now able to see the coaster and all that. My idea is to create kind of like a viewing point over here. That's something that I would really like to do, and creating a viewing point over here, that would be amazing, so that people are able to see the whole coaster off-ride, so that would look pretty good. Like, imagine you're here, and you can see the view, and if you're waiting for some of your family to go up, you can see them pretty easily, because over here the coaster's not going too fast. But yeah, so in regards of the coaster, this is Waterfall Express. You can see over here the entrance. It doesn't have too much of a queue, but I figured that it wouldn't need it. It's got 3 trains. I don't know how many rows. 11 rows with 2 people per row, which makes 22 people per train, and there's a train constantly moving. You don't have to, as soon as one train leaves, the second train is already coming back to the station. So it's a pretty good capacity, I would say, with 3 train operations. As you guys are seeing, this other train is now coming back into the station over here, which takes a while. And there's like a space where the station is empty, but you're rolling trains, so the capacity shouldn't be too much, especially for it being a coaster that's at the back of the park. Like, it's completely at the back of the park. For you to be aware, this is the park limit. You can see it over here, and it goes all the way through the park limit in the corner. So yeah, this part of the park is going to be empty. There's no way I can fit something over there. And I think like it would be too overkill for, especially for this coaster, because I feel like it has like a really nice look here of like lost in the woods, you know, and then you come out and then you find this beautiful, beautiful canyon that looks so nice. I feel like it looks so nice, and it didn't take that much effort. It was just some terraforming, and then with the scenery brush over here, it's just made it all. And I love this scenery brush. Is the one of the my favorite things that Coaster 2 has added, even though it makes my game crash sometimes, but it's okay. We still need to work on all this place. There's some weird stuff happening over here still, which I need to address and I need to work on. But I feel like I probably put some buildings over here, and then maybe I'll put a kiddie coaster over here. I think that's maybe the next thing that we're gonna work on this day today. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And not much else. I created this plaza over here pretty quick. I didn't even change and switch the actual colors for this. I'll switch it in a second. And this is kind of like bare bones because you see the trains doing some weird stuff over here. But yeah, we're gonna have another railroad crossing over here to connect finally the last part of this part that it's behind the rails. And I don't know what else I'm gonna do. My plans as of now are finishing up this part, which should be still considered the forest side of the park, but like kind of like the entrance. This should be kind of like a transition zone. This is not going to be officially the forest zone, even though for staff it is mostly going to be forest area. So the staff will go to this stuff building, but yeah, it's not going to be officially a forest zone because it's not going to be as populated with trees as this part is. But yeah, also I don't know what to do over here. I don't know if I should add something or if this looks good as it is right now. I feel like it's kind of empty and the transition here is kind of harsh. I am aware of that. I didn't work on that. So I might do some transition over here, but I don't know if we should add something. I do think that it could be cool adding like a tracked ride over here, like one of these, like these one antique powered card ride. That would be fun. Like you could have it go around here and then go up maybe. You could do something with it and it would look pretty nice. So maybe I do something like that and I use the tracked rides, which I haven't used mostly on this save game. But yeah, I don't know when I'm going to do it, if I'm going to do it. We'll see. It'll take a while. Right now, I just want to open the park as well. So I might do some tweaking on some stuff and then I might open the park and then the final update would be with people in the park already. But yeah, also I am planning on updating this. It's kind of like, it was good for what I wanted to do, but it was always meant to be kind of like a placeholder for what it was to come next, because it's not realistic enough. Obviously, it's kind of like too fast and I don't like it. So I need to work on this. I will have to research on how to do it because I'm not good on making parking lots and stuff. So yeah, it's something that I'm gonna have to figure out, but I'll figure it out eventually. I don't know if it's gonna be on this episode or some episodes, but it's just a plan that I have. Then this is also something that I need to fix and I need to do. So we'll do it eventually as well. And overall, not much else to say, honestly. I think we're going to go back into another speed build mode, and we're going to finish up a kind of like this part and this part probably to kind of finish the whole forest area. And yeah, not much else. So let's just go right into the speed build and see what I can come up with. Well, I didn't come up with a lot. You will be seeing me building a couple of stuff over here, but it's just like kind of like some stuff that I thought that the whole area was missing. So the first thing that I was missing and that I talked about is this cute little kitty coaster that I was trying to build. You'll see me go through a lot of iterations of this coaster because at first I wanted to give it like a kind of like a long layout, kind of, so that it would be at only one lap coaster. But at the end of the building, I decided that it was not the best looking. My first iteration was actually pretty good, but it didn't turn out as I wanted, just like I wanted. The second iteration, which is the one that you guys are seeing right over here, I ended up finishing it, but it was at some point right after the second helix, the coaster was going a little bit too slow for my liking and for anyone's liking. I felt like that coaster was bound to valley on in that section, and there was nothing that I could do that could make it go faster without sacrificing, clearance on the coaster on itself. So I decided to scrap that. So you'll see me now kind of smooth it out a little and then work with it a little. But the first helix is going to be staying at the end of at the end of this section of the building, and then the other two helixes are going to have to leave, and I'm going to make this coaster a 2 lap coaster. But I think it turned out pretty great, and I didn't have much faith in it at the beginning because I saw it and I was like, okay, that's kind of boring. But then I gave it some theming, and I think it turned out pretty great. I'm still waiting for Planet Coaster to release kind of like more unthemed coasters so that I can have a little bit more theming on them and not try to hide the actual theme. But I think it turned out pretty great. At least on this coaster, it's themed around, well, I wanted to give it a theme at the beginning of like a kind of like a Loch Ness monster, but it being friendly, so Nessie's kind of situation. But then I decided to scrap it and to hide the actual monster and the dragon that it had, and I ended up with a kind of like a scouts themed ride because, well, they go camping in the forest and all that, so it's kind of like a scouts camp. But also the train is really cute. Honestly, I'm pretty proud of how it turned out. It is really comical and really funky, not funky, but it's kind of like childish and stuff. But this is a kiddie ride, so I feel like it just fits so well into the theme. And yeah, not a lot of theming in parts of the station and all that because kind of coasters like these don't have that much theming. But I do feel like the overall theme of the ride, it's got quite a few plants and stuff, and it fits pretty well on the overall theme of this area, which is kind of supposed to be like the entrance to the forest, to Baso Forest. So yeah, you're seeing me now work on the coaster train in itself, and you're gonna see me that I'm gonna end up having this tuk-tuk kind of train, or not train, vehicle thingy inside of the train to hide the actual dragon. And it turns out pretty great. I'm gonna give it some wiggly eyes with the rotation pieces, and you'll see that it's so fun, so cool. And I think it's what it needed to have. It looks really kid friendly, so that was my main goal for this coaster. And I think it did it pretty great. You're seeing it over there, and we'll see it after in the real time mode. But yeah, it turned out pretty great. And then I just was thinking of leaving this without any theming, but it wouldn't be too realistic. So I gave it a theming of like forest kind of theming or something. And it turned out pretty great. I just stamped some trees all around the whole track area, and now it really looks like it is a coaster that belongs in the zone that it is. It might be a stock coaster or some like coaster, like pre-made coaster from Samperla. It's probably a Samperla. I'm not too sure, but yeah. And now it looks like a real cute ride that actually belongs onto the section that it's in. But yeah, pretty proud of how it turned out, especially on the theme inside of it. I'm not like that proud of the actual layout of the coaster because the layout is pretty normal and pretty average, but the theming and the plants and all that, I think it gave it a really much nicer look to this. So yeah, it's kind of like my favorite part of this coaster. I give it the theming and all that, and all these rocks and all that I gave. It just looks like it belongs there, and it's not. It doesn't feel like something that it's kind of like plopped down in the middle of a pathway just because. But yeah, I ended up having a lot of space free in the end as well. So I put some more shops over here with the same blueprint that I used because this is not something that I wanted to focus a lot. And it turned out pretty great. You're going to see me also work a little bit on a chair all plane ride that's going to be at the other side of these shops, and a little bit of this is going to be kind of like I wanted to do here some kind of like picnic tables and stuff, but it ended up being kind of like difficult to make the path look pretty, so I just decided on making some more tree and bush patches over here so that it gives more of a foresty vibe, you know? And also to get rid of a little bit of a path over there, I thought there were too many paths. So yeah, that's basically what I did over here. You're seeing me work on a scenery brush that ended up deleting itself, so I had to redo it a little bit after, but yeah, it's no big deal. It was just a brush that I wanted to do, different brush for this forest area, and it turned out pretty great, not gonna lie. I am pretty proud of how it turned out. You're seeing me now putting all the benches and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of like some minor details, and then we're gonna go jump into the Chero plane in just a second. It's just another flat ride that I wanted to include. I wanted to include flat rides that were not too aggressive for this area. I feel like it was my main goal to make it like really family friendly and a lot of rides that are really family friendly, and I think I made it. So that's cute. The airplane looks really, really nice in this area. I think it fits so well. The rides that I made fit so well, and I ended up making some kind of viewpoint for the whole wooden coaster to be viewable from some other sides of the park. But I didn't do anything else on this actual part of the speed build. It was kind of like just filling out the gaps that I felt like there were missing for this base O for us to be fully complete. And yeah, not much else to add over here. You're gonna see me add some foliage, of course, theming all the places and all the parts that I needed to theme. And you're gonna see me also add finally the viewpoint on the other side of the train tracks. There you go. You're seeing me now working on that viewpoint that I was trying to talk about. I made the exact same thing as other patches over here. It's basically making it with a path, a normal path, and I fill it out, and then I delete some patches of the path so that I can make some trees, and I can put some trees over there so that it still looks like a forest. And I think it turned out pretty great. I honestly think that this would be one of the most scenic and beautiful places in the whole park. I think it looks just so nice and so great. And if you were someone that doesn't want to ride rides, I think I would spend the day just in this place to seeing the amazing views that you can see. So yeah, not much else. Let's just jump right into the real-time mode and I'll tell you guys what I did. Okay, and here we are in real-time mode. This is how I turned this section out. So I think it's pretty cool, honestly. I didn't touch on this part over here because I still don't know what I want here this to be, so I didn't touch it, but like it's kind of like a really nice trail around here, so that's also really cool. Anyways, some of the updates, I added some benches all around the whole place, so it looks like way more cute and easy to, not easy, but like there's a lot of more spots for you to be resting. Then there's this place over here, which I'm gonna jump into first person view. You can see the whole area over here. No, not many changes over here, and then the main changes are over at this part. You guys can see how it just looks way more integrated, and this coaster, I am just in love with this train. I think it's one of the cutest and most funny and, I don't know, fitting trains that I've made. Like, look at it. It's just so cute. So yeah, pretty proud of that. We did this chairlift plane as well, which I didn't, hold on, because I'm gonna do it right now here live, but the actual fence and path cover and all that is not the one that it's supposed to be. So let me switch it up real quick. Much better. And yeah, there's not much else to say about this. I didn't open these, but I'll open them in a second. And I think the actual staff zone is... Okay, I need to add this kitty coaster and this zone over here, and we'll be good. And now we can open all these zones. And I feel like we could open the park now. I think I'm gonna open it at the end of every episode from now on, because I want to see how people are behaving and all that. So let's just go ahead and open the park up. I'm also going to go into attractions and shops, and I'm going to open every single one of them. except the train railroad, of course, but the other ones, we are gonna do that. I'm also gonna edit the interval times because I don't know why every time you reset a park, reopen a park after saving and you open it up, the interval time just gets completely reset. So that's why I have this over here so that I know which ones are the interval time. For example, in this one, I should change it up to 24. Because if not, then we're going to have some trouble with that. And then in Botanic Canyon, we've got 21. And in Forest Fall Express, we should have 2 because it doesn't matter. It's really well planned for. But yeah, so let me see if people are actually coming into the park. And I'll update you once a lot of people are in the park already. Okay, so quite a bit of people have made it into the park right now. All of the rides are open, and right now I have 1.9 stars over here. I guess it's because of the unique attractions and the park reputation situation, because the prestige is not that bad, and then the scenery rating is absolutely perfect. So I guess as I build more coasters and more rides, this will go up, and that will mean that we will have more people, because I feel like with this rating, not that many people should be able to make it into the park. And even though there's like a constant flow of people coming in, now you guys can see that like the people flow has stopped. So I guess that's not ideal because I was planning on having like the maximum amount of people in this park as possible, but it's okay. So yeah, it's not bad. I mean, almost 2,000 people coming into the park, and the park is not even finished, not even halfway done. So that's fine. That's cool. Anyways, we're gonna leave it over here, and I'll come back in the next episode. We will be finishing some stuff, and then maybe a potential new area. I'm not sure, but we will see. We will see. I want to finish this transition from the baser town to base old forest, and I want to do a couple of things around here, but everything will have to be on its own pace. So I'll see what I do on the next episode. Up until then, I will leave you guys with this. So I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, it's free, and you can always change your mind later. And like this video and comment whatever you want to see next. And yeah, not much else. See you guys in the next video. Bye.